Some people find it a little bit odd with the Nissan Leaf that when you want to go reverse, you push the gear lever forwards. When you want to go forwards, you push the gear lever to the back to put it into D or to B mode. And to be honest, it is kind of weird to begin with, but you soon get used to it. When you're using a manual sort of gear lever, you push it forwards to go into first gear, so you're going forwards. I suppose that's right, yeah. Well, I've got used to it now anyway, so it doesn't really make a lot of difference, but some people have said that it is a bit weird. So I'm not staying by the beach today to go and have a dip because the clouds have come over and it's not looking quite as nice as it was. The temperature's still over about around about 28, 29 degrees, so it's still warm enough. I could go and have a dip if I wanted to, and it would be fairly pleasant, but you know what, I think I'll just go home. So yesterday was a strange old day because I wasn't driving actually I was driving my Nissan Leaf as per usual, driving to work. It's the only sensible thing to do. But when I got back home again, my wife wanted me to take her and the dog to the vet. So the dog had to have the yearly vaccinations and she wanted me to take her there. And I don't mind driving her there, and she didn't want to drive herself. And wanted us to take the she wanted me to drive in this car with the dog in there, but I've had the dog in this car once, and you know what, I didn't really like it much. I'd rather the dog didn't want to come in this car. It's too bit of a sort of jump and a hop down into the bottomless pit of the boot of the car for the dog. She's getting on in years now, so it's a bit of a jump for her. In fact, I'd probably have to lift her in if I was going to take the dog in the boot of this car. So the last time she come into this car, I've got a thing where it sort of protects all the seats and everything, and that kind of worked. So we put the dog into the back seat of the car, and the seats were mostly protected, but there was when she was getting in, I don't know, I think there was a couple of scratches on the paintwork maybe, and there was also hairs from the dog sort of getting in the back seat of the car. And I've got to clean the car anyway, but still. In fact, the car probably got even a bit dirtier when I had the grandchildren in the back. Because you know what grandchildren are like, with sort of mess everywhere, sort of feet going everywhere in the back of the seats and stuff. But you know, grandchildren are allowed to do that sort of thing. What a softie I am, what a softie. Anyway, so I got back home and we got into the Renault Clio and we was driving that down to the vet, and it felt really strange. For a start off, the amount of power available in that car is nowhere near as much as the power I have available in this Nissan Leaf. It's nice to be able to put the throttle down and to really sort of feel it move. Don't get that in the Renault Clio, but then I always thought the Renault Clio was underpowered anyway, but I didn't mind it, didn't lose a lot of dyno juice, and so that was fine by me. So that was one thing. Then I had to get used to using gears again. I haven't been driving that car for about a month, and it didn't take me long. Surprisingly, it was pretty easy to go from driving a car without any gears to go into a car with 5 gears, and to not have the problem of getting to a junction and it's stalling because I forgot to put my foot on the clutch and so on. Now the other thing is that you have to sort of remember as well is that I always have e-pedal on the car here, and I wasn't able to use e-pedal because I don't have e-pedal on the old-fashioned petrol cars, and that was okay. I still managed to remember to put my foot on the brakes to stop when I needed to. This car, the Nissan Leaf, oozes quality in comparison. I much prefer driving this Nissan Leaf. The silence of it, the smoothness of it, the power of it, absolutely brilliant. And it was weird being in an old, well, I mean, it's not old, I was only 3 years old, the Renault Clio, lacking in power and lacking in silence and everything else. And I've got a car sort of messing about on the roundabout there. It was going very, very slowly, and I had to pull up because I didn't dare go and I've still no idea what it's doing. Where is it going to go? No indicators, nothing. It's all over the darn place. And I was thinking of using my horn, but thought, well, I'll leave it. I didn't know whether to let him know he was driving like an idiot, but still. Anyway, coming down to this junction here, and I can pull in because I have loads of power with this Nissan Leaf. It's so much safer for pulling into the traffic which is moving, and he's not going to let me in specifically, although sometimes people do move onto the second lane. But I have much more confidence in this car of being able to get into the traffic than I did with the Clio. It was sometimes a bit sort of dodgier. Sometimes I'd have to pull up and stop because I knew the car wasn't just going to get me in there safely. So anyway, I was glad to get back into my Nissan Leaf this morning and be once again have the joy and the power and the everything else with this car. Now I'm having to change lanes here because someone's pulling in and they're not doing a very good job of it because they're probably in a low powered vehicle. So anyway, I'm going to put ProPilot Assist on there, and it's working at the moment. It's working well because I'm not driving very far. When it comes to tomorrow, when I have to, not tomorrow, on Monday, when I have to drive into Barcelona to take the radar sensor to get fixed, I'm going to drive about 50 kilometers and then it's going to start complaining. First of all, there's a little yellow sort of mark that comes up on the screen there in the front, and that comes on there to say that it sensed something, and it sort of basically tries putting the brakes on, but it doesn't do a very big job of it. I can sort of overcome that fairly easily, and it complains anyway. Then what happens after about 60 kilometers, it will put on the full sort of brakes, emergency brakes. It thinks that a car stopped in front and it wants me to stop the car completely, which is a bit of a pain in the rear end. Could be a bit dangerous as well when you're driving along and all of a sudden the car says, hang on a minute, stop, and you don't want to. And the only way to deal with both of those occasions is to keep the foot on top of the accelerator pedal and to just blast past the sensors and so on. So you can override it, but it means you do have to be aware that this thing might happen and that you have to have the foot on the accelerator to put the foot down quickly just in case. But even so, when it's doing the full emergency brake in there, it is much more annoying, and it is likely to be that it will slow the car down sufficiently that if you had a car behind you, then you could have a serious problem where it could run into the back of you. So anyway, so what I do before it gets to that point is I will turn off the ProPilot Assist and be in manual mode. But even in manual mode, you still have to watch out because it doesn't go to the point where it turns it off completely. The ProPilot Assist and the automatic emergency braking, it doesn't turn that off completely until it gets to the point where you got the other marker on the screen there, which is in the analog side of the speedo, under the speedo, and it says that the front radar sensor is not working and you don't have the ability to even switch ProPilot Assist on. So that's a long old story, isn't it? But that's hopefully going to be sorted out on Monday, and this radar sensor is going to be changed and calibrated, and I'm hoping that it's, well, I don't know how it's going to work. Maybe they don't have to have the car for too long. They can change it quickly and do the calibration quickly, and I don't have to drive home in a courtesy car, which is probably going to be a gas car, a petrol-driven car. I don't want that. I'd prefer it if I could maybe hang around in the town. There's not much to go and see there, but I could sort of do a few bits and pieces, go and hang in a bar or a restaurant or get a cup of tea somewhere. There are some shops I could go and have a look in, but if it's more than 3 or 4 hours, then they should give me another car, and in that case I'll go off and I'll go to maybe a shopping centre in Barcelona if they can have the car available for me in the evening time. It depends what time I go down there. I have to work out and see what's going to happen. So I've turned off ProPilot Assist. It's quite a short bit of slowing down period to get off the main road, and there I don't want to start slowing down on the main road. So anyway, that's all my news for my Nissan Leaf for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye bye now. If you've been watching this on YouTube, do have a look at the podcast, because some of the stuff I put in the podcast doesn't go onto YouTube, and vice versa. If you listen to this, I might put the audio of this onto the podcast, and there will be some bits that obviously the video part of it you won't see in the podcast. So have a look and see what's going on as I drive home in my Nissan Leaf in YouTube. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye bye now.